My hubby, my sweet, loves brownies, and this is the kind of brownie that I have made for years. And it's just the Betty Crocker Supreme Triple Chunk. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this, and I'm gonna fancy it up because I bought this little cool silicone mold, which I've never had before. I've already sprayed the baking spray in there, but look, it's gonna be roses. I hope that the brownies will come out and look like roses. We'll see. I have never done this before, but we'll see. So we're gonna get to it because I'm all nervous because Viology said something about in her announcement video to try to keep the videos from being too long, and so I'm gonna try to do that. I've already put a 1/4 cup of water in this bowl, and then I have 1/3 cup of vegetable oil with 1 egg cracked in it already. But I'm gonna go ahead and put the mix in. This is a really good brownie mix. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put this in. We're gonna get this done. But what's gonna make this special, not only are they gonna be shaped like roses, hopefully it's gonna look like roses, and then I'm also gonna make a hot fudge sauce. We're gonna have it with ice cream, and I'm gonna make a hot fudge sauce that was my granny's recipe on the stovetop. And so we're gonna get these baking in the oven, and then I'm gonna show you how I do the sauce. So my sweetie's all about this YouTube thing if it means me making desserts for him. Okay, I don't know if you can even see. Maybe if I put it back here, you can see a little bit. I'm all for it too. I never met some chocolate that I didn't like. So Jeff and I met, I'll tell you a little bit while I'm doing this. Jeff and I met out at college back in, I guess it was 1987. Yeah, I think so. And we met in a hot tub, which is really funny because I really don't like hot tubs. I think they're kind of gross. I like a bath. I don't really care for getting in a hot tub with a lot of people. It kind of grosses me out a little bit. But that's where we met, and it was a good meeting. Except his friend, he was there, so it was in my apartment complex, and I had never seen him before. He came over because his apartment complex did not have a hot tub, and that's where his sister lived. And her name was Kim too. And so anyway, and that was the one and only time, the first and only time, no, I think I went twice, that I went to that hot tub, and that was the one time I met Jeff. It was nice. So anyway, his friend was convinced that I liked him instead, but I didn't. I liked Jeff. But I didn't want him to know that. I was so funny back then. So I was 19, I believe, when I met him. And I didn't want him to think that I liked him. So, hold on. We're gonna stick this in the oven, and it doesn't say anything like baking the muffin style. So, I don't know, I'm putting them in at 350. So I'm setting it for that. Hold on, we're gonna move over here and make the pudding, and I'll finish my story. It calls for a large can of evaporated milk. Oh, I almost forgot. I can't put this in yet because if I mix in the sugar and the cocoa first, then I can get all the lumps out. So I'm gonna put in 2 cups of sugar, and a 1/4 cup of cocoa. And see, so if I do this while it's still dry, that sugar will break up all of that cocoa. Because you know, if you've ever tried to mix cocoa into liquid, it's really hard to do. So So back to my story. Okay. So the day that or the night that I decided to go to the hot tub, I had three guy friends who were guys from my apartment complex. I did not date them or anything. They were really sincerely just friends, and they all said, "Hey, let's all go to the hot tub." So I went, and he was there. Jeff was there, and I thought he was so cute, and he had a really sweet smile. I mean, not only was he gorgeous and really in good shape and all that, but he also had a really sweet, warm smile. And I was really shy at the time, pretty much. And so we talked a little bit, but just as a group, because the hot tub was full. And so then when it was time to go, I feel bad for not looking at you when I'm talking to you. But anyway, so when it was time for me to go in, when I was gonna go in, I got out of the hot tub, and my friends left too, and I went to my apartment, which was not very far from the hot tub. It was like apartments that were surrounding a courtyard, and that's where the hot tub was. So I got out of the hot tub and I went over to my apartment, but they could still see me the whole time that I was going over there. And as I was walking to my apartment, Jeff yelled out, "Hey, what's your name?" And so I said, "Kim," and then I went in and I shut the door. And then I realized that that was stupid, that I should have asked his name. But I didn't. Okay, I have to, hold on just a second. I have to figure out where I am. Okay, oh shoot, you know what I forgot? The flour, which makes it thick. So that's gonna be a pain to mix in a little bit now. Okay, and it calls for 1 tablespoon of flour. But remember, my grandmother, when my grandmother would cook, that would be like the tablespoon, just a regular old soup spoon. Oh boy. Mix in flour. Okay, so yeah, it looks like it's gonna mix in. So that's gonna make it a little bit thick. And then it calls for 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Oh, that's good stuff. I love vanilla. Okay, so my story. So then I realized that was a dumb thing. Now he thinks you're not interested at all. And I didn't know how to fix that, because I knew that was my fault, and I knew I'd probably never see him again. I'm putting this on medium, by the way. And so then I thought, I knew what apartment complex he lived in because he had mentioned it. And so, okay, so really that just has to cook for a minute. So I'm gonna tilt you up for a minute. Okay, so I had a friend, another guy friend. I like guy friends, they're great. I could have been Elaine on Seinfeld for sure. Anyway, so I had another guy friend that did me a favor, because he went to the manager of the apartment complex and said that he was an old buddy of Jeff's, and what was his phone number, and they gave it to him, and so he gave it to me. And so then I called Jeff one day and told him it was nice meeting him in the hot tub and all that. And he thought, since his sister's name is Kim too, for a good 10 minutes, he thought that it was his sister trying to play a joke on him. So I finally convinced him that it wasn't. And we chatted for a little bit. And then the next week, he dropped by my apartment for a minute on his way to somewhere else. He and one of his roommates. And we chatted for maybe 5 minutes. And I had on sweats. I probably hadn't even brushed my hair. I was a mess. And so I thought, well, there goes that. He's not interested. And so then a whole other month went by. I didn't hear from him, nothing. And then we were both somewhere else on a date with other people. in our college town, and we saw each other, and that's when he decided to ask me out. And I said, okay, sure. And so we went out, like, I don't know if it was the next day or not, I can't remember. We went out to a movie and saw each other, I think, every day since then, pretty much. And we dated for about, I don't know, 3 weeks before we kind of started talking about, hey, we might get married. And then it was 3 months after we met that we got engaged, and another 3 months till we got married. And we've been married 32 years last month. So anyway, that's the story of how me and my sweetie met. Now back to this pudding. Granny's gonna get mad at me if I burn the pudding. Oh, also, one of the things that I liked about him was that he picked me up in this old ratty pickup truck and for our date, and he had Journey on like a cassette tape or whatever, Journey music. And I had been going out with some guys that were listening to all this like alternative, like not really alternative, just kind of weird punky stuff. And anyway, it just did my good old small town country girl heart good to be picked up in an old pickup truck and be listening to some Journey with just a real, I don't know, real man's man. I hope that doesn't offend anybody, but he was, you know, he was my kind of guy. And so anyway, thought I'd add that to the story. Okay, so it's starting to get thick. Did you see that bubbling up before I stirred it back down? So here comes the good stuff. The butter, and I always just get the salted butter because I like salt, and I say add a little more salt. It's not going to hurt anything. And butter with salt is one of my favorite foods. Look at that, it's going to melt into really good stuff. Oh shoot. Getting a little hot. So I shouldn't probably let it get that hot. You don't want burnt cocoa. Or burnt sugar. So this is where we're at. See, it's all glossy. It's still a little bit thin, but it's gonna thicken up as we keep cooking it. Good. I need to see if a toothpick comes out. So they turned out nicely. It took a long time, like maybe 40 minutes. Okay. I don't know which one's the best one. Get a close-up of them. Here, this one's a good one. We're gonna put that one there. This one's pretty good too. Okay. For a second, and until ready. Mm-hmm.
Run.
I meant to put the powdered sugar on.
The camera didn't see it.
Okay, and that's been my sweets for my sweetie, or sweets for your sweetie. And I'm gonna go get him now. Bye-bye, y'all.